Well, good afternoon. On behalf of Ginger Swift's family and the church here at Bethel, we want to say thank you for making time to come out to honor Ginger. I've known Ginger for the last 8.5 years. I'm the pastor here at Bethel, and today I've decided I'm no longer doing funerals for such wonderful people. And Ginger is just one of those super special people who brought joy everywhere she went. She had a way of encouraging me, even though she was going through something far worse. And I'm just very thankful for Ginger. I'm thankful for the family letting me come and spend some time with her. I wanted to open with a psalm that I read to Ginger the day before she passed. Psalm 23, 1 through 4. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And if you knew Ginger, she found much comfort in her God, her Creator, her Savior. And she didn't fear much. We have much to learn from her. There's a passage that I also find deep comfort in when I think of Ginger's love for Jesus and her hope in eternal life. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, 13 through 14 says, Brothers and sisters, we do not want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind who have no hope. Ginger had hope, and we too can have hope today in the midst of our grief. Verse 14 says, For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him. That is our hope and our comfort today. And before I pray for the service, I wanted to read an email that Ginger sent me during the COVID years. As many of you know, those were some tumultuous times, and not everyone agreed on everything. And this email I just treasured because it showed Ginger's heart and her example to us. We were meeting not in person. A lot of people had to be in their homes, and I sent out an email to encourage the church, and this is what she wrote back to me. Dear Pastor Luke, I am sending you love and prayer support, and I thank you for your message. This week, someone came to remove some trees for me, danger trees. I asked him into my house to wait for payment. Looking around, he must have noticed my Bible on the coffee table and asked me, Do you believe in Jesus? We then had a wonderful talk sharing our faith. He admitted that he didn't attend church because he was weary of confrontation. He didn't know where to go. So I urged him to try our church, and we talked about the conflict going on now in all churches in all parts of the country. I told him about your wonderful and encouraging sermons. This was a new experience for me. It felt good. There are many quiet, stay-at-home Christians on the island. I've met many of them. There are also many vocal non-Christians. Sometimes I speak up, other times I don't. I didn't plan to ramble on. I just wanted you to know that you were loved by all of us. Thank you for bringing the message of peacemaking. God bless, Ginger. And what I want to say to Ginger is thank you for living the message of peacemaking. Ginger loved Jesus. She loved every single one of you deeply and truly. She loved her island neighbors really well, and we're really going to miss Ginger around here. Let me pray. God, we thank you for Ginger's life, her legacy, her contagious smile and laughter. God, I pray in honor of Ginger that we too would live with hope and comfort so that we could bring joy everywhere we go and we could be peacemakers in our world. God of all hope and comfort, would you comfort us today as we grieve, as we celebrate? Again, we thank you for Ginger. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
We know most of you, but if you don't know us, I'm Casey and this is Dan, and we're Ginger's daughter and son. And we're just going to talk about her life. little bit chronological order here. So thank you for joining us in celebrating the life of our mom, Ginger Swift. Our mom loved life. She was always on the lookout for the next adventure, the next creative outlet, the next hobby, the next item to collect. She loved people. She loved life. I was telling a colleague the other day, I said, you know, I wish you could have known my mom. She was a force of nature. And it is hard to summarize a life as long and full as hers, but we're going to try.
Virginia Gayle Swift, to be called Ginger, was born June 11th, 1939, at the Martin Maternity Home in Seattle, Washington, to Randall and Hazel Swift. Ginger joined her big brother, Corky, at home. They lived with Randall's parents, Gladys and Frank. In 1943, when Ginger was 4, they moved to a shack, as she described it, in Bellevue. 2 years later, the young family moved to Vashon Island, where she would spend her childhood through high school and marriage. She started her first grade at Burton Grade School, where she made many lifelong friends, some of which are here today. And in 4th grade, she became a member of the Girl Scouts and stayed a member of the Girl Scouts forever. Life on Vashon was filled with friends and a large group of siblings, 7 in all, plus many extra kids along the way. Ginger lived a country life, riding horses, playing in the hay, dressing up chickens, playing in the woods, and growing and harvesting a garden. She helped raise her younger siblings, as is the way of big families. She spent time hanging out with her grandparents, who lived on the farm and eventually built their house she spent her later years in. Her grandma taught her to sew, and the love of creating with textiles was born. Ginger was friendly and sociable, which is probably an understatement. And she was always ready to do fun things and have adventures. Ginger graduated from Vashon High School in 1957.
So after graduation, Mom went to work at a bank in Seattle where she could use her secretarial skills that she learned in high school, especially the long-lost art of shorthand, which I actually have examples of that at her house. And she once told me that when she got that paycheck, she spent a large part of that on shoes, because she really liked nice shoes, and she especially wanted shoes with tall heels. Ginger met Dan Clare on a blind date. He was serving in the Army and stationed on Vashon at the Nike site. They were married at her family home in 1958 in a garden wedding on a very warm July 5th. And her youngest sibling, I'm not sure that he's here, ran around without any clothes. And her matron of honor, who is here, is Peggy Swift, Corky's wife. They honeymooned on Orcas Island and then headed for Sacramento with Dan's sister Pat in the car, along for the ride. In Sacramento, Dan finished college and worked full-time at a lumber yard, and Ginger went to work for the state as a secretary, again, using that, cryptic writing that she loved. In 1960, I was born, and Mom became a full-time homemaker, a career that she absolutely cherished. That was her calling.
After Dad graduated from college in 1962, the family moved to Portland, Oregon, where they bought their first house, and I was born. During these years, Mom was active in the Presbyterian Church, the Eastern Star, and she was a Rainbow Girl leader, many of which were our babysitters as kids.
Yeah, she was only a few years older than them, but that was Mom.
Yeah. She also sold Avon and for the first time became a Girl Scout leader to 16 brownies. Ginger bowled at the interstate lanes in a bowling team. What was her game? 298? Was that best
it was
game?
Nearly perfect.
Nearly a perfect game. She had a trophy for it. She was an athlete. She was athletic and nearly bowled a perfect game. The young family was very busy. They remodeled and added to the house on Wilbur Street. In 1967 or so, they bought a second home in Venusburg, Washington, which is just outside of Battleground, Washington, which was affectionately called the farm. And we spent many weekends there playing in the woods and having adventures. In 1968, my brother Douglas was born, and the family sold the Portland house, and we moved to the farm for a year.
Life on the farm, was interesting and fun. We got our water from a spring, so one thing we remember was always having to thaw it out in the winter by pouring boiling water on the hose and clean it out of debris during the summer, pretty much a full-time job. So keeping it flowing was no small task, and we did that as a family, which was really awesome. Also, this property had all kinds of old junk piles on it, like a dump. And that was really fun for a kid. We could find wonderful things: old bed springs, old medicine bottles, rope. Anyway, Mom was always up for hiking, picking berries, playing with us in the woods, and she was just, like I said, it was her calling to be a parent and a homemaker. She continued to be active in the Methodist Church, where she used her secretarial skills to make the newsletter and program each week. And I always remember she had the purple fingers from running that thing. And she was a Girl Scout leader to our junior troop. She became the Battleground neighborhood chairman in charge of all the Girl Scout troops. Her troop used to meet in an old one-room schoolhouse, and we became interested in things that Mom was interested in, like sewing and camping, identifying, things you can eat in the woods. Her enthusiasm for working with children and adults was clear. That was something that was also her calling. The neighborhood during that time grew under her leadership. She also continued to bowl, this time at the Tiger Bowl Lanes. And as it turned out, they were not able to build a house on that Venusburg property because there wasn't any water. People don't want to hassle with a spring. So they purchased land outside of Battleground and built a large home where they lived for the next decade.
Those were what we call the 179th Street years. Mom continued to lead Girl Scouts as the neighborhood neighborhood chairman and troop leader. She also became involved in Camp Juliana and ran a day camp as well as other events. My brother and I were in the boys unit, so we always joke that we are Girl Scouts, and we still are.
That's right.
These were fun times and busy times, and she loved working with children and adults. Ginger started to raise sheep and have other farm animals, as well as a huge organic farm. And huge, I mean, probably a good couple acres.
Yep.
And a U-pick bean field, which we worked in.
Or we picked the beans.
We picked bean fields, yeah. She became involved in forestry 4-H leader with Douglas's group, the Noble Firs. She was very busy with fairs and parades and farm work in those years. Mom also pursued her college degree, taking classes at Clark County Community College during this time.
About in the middle of that decade, in 1976, Ginger and several other women, and I don't know how many are here today, but they are here today, started an adult Girl Scout troop called the Elegants. And I still remember, I was about 16, the day she came home, she's so excited about, the plan for this troop. And I was like, I just wanted to join it right away, like now. I was so sad when she said, you have to be 21. I'm like, 21? What are you going to do? Anyways, I waited and joined, and it was great. This group was life-changing for Mom, and it gave her the support she needed at many different points in her life. There were always opportunities for friendship and adventure. Through the Elegants, Mom was able to travel to many different parts of the U.S. and the world. She felt particularly blessed when her senior Girl Scout troop, we're here by the way, joined the E's, that's what they're called, and we all became friends as adults.
In 1980, Dad's work moved south to Wilsonville, Oregon, and Mom and Dad also moved to Butteville, Oregon, which is adjacent to Wilsonville. Mom became active in the Butteville Community Church. She also became involved in the Aurora Colony Museum first as a board member and as a docent. She was instrumental in starting a living history museum for school children at Stafford's Wells Farm in Woodburn. She also continued raising sheep and co-founded the Aurora Colony Spinning Guild. Ginger, with her friend Marianne Moore, began a small company called Gemini Wool Products. They traveled around giving spinning demonstrations and selling wool and sheep-related products. Mom also loved working with textiles, and we would come home and she'd be dyeing some kind of wool in the kitchen, and it smelled funny, but she did wonderful things with it. It was beautiful.
I came across a bag the other day. As many of you know, we've been cleaning out her home, and it had wool she had spun and textiles she had woven in this gorgeous blue. And the thing about making such a gorgeous piece of fabric, it's like, okay, I've got to make something really great, and then you never find that really great thing, and so people inherit your bag of really great fabric. And so anyways, it's gorgeous, and I think I'm going to make something really great. So Ginger worked at the Aurora Colony gift shop for several years, and then with her friend Chris, they opened the Common Way. It was an antique mall and gift shop with items related to the communal Aurora Colony. Mom loved to garage sale and research antiques. We joke in the family about Mom garage selling. She'd get out her paper, circle the sales, drive to them, drive right up in their front yard, and get out and try and find those deals. So that was something fun that she did. She was also actively involved with Doug's class at North Marion. She was always available for making costumes. Mom loved to make costumes, or to help organize events. She also designed and built a barn house where she lived until 2013. Ginger loved to garden, and this included flowers and vegetables and fairylands, whatever she could create. She worked hard to become a master gardener. The yard and gardens had paths and unique landscaping and plenty of yard art. She built a permanent campfire for cooking, and many Girl Scout camp-out memories were made there.
Throughout the years, Mom had multiple opportunities to travel, both foreign and domestic. She traveled to Japan, the Virgin Islands, France, Alaska, on several occasions, Hawaii, and many other locations around the country. In 1993, Mom realized a lifelong dream, and she traveled and she visited the Holy Lands.
So while living in Butteville in the 1980s, Ginger became a grandmother for the first time, my kids. She spent many hours teaching and loving her three grands, Hank, Cody, and Abby. They spent hours with her learning and living her hobbies and whatever they were interested in too. Mom was always willing to follow. What are you interested in? I will help you with that. She used them for test pioneer kids down at the Stafford Wells Farm. She taught them to garage sale. Well, this is not a quarter basket, only pay a dime. So, good times. In 2001, Daniel married Lynn and brought in two more grandchildren, Kathleen and Kelly. And we'd get together at Easter time, and they would sometimes remark, well, Easter egg hunting became a competitive sport when everyone was together. In 2005, Ginger became a grandma again when Trula was born, and again when Dash came in 2009. She traveled to California many times to visit and have fun with these two. In 2008, Ginger welcomed her great-grandchild, Aiden.
Yeah, Mom was a top-notch grandparent, and she cherished every moment of it. She loved being a grandparent. In 2013, actually, we went back and looked this up. It was December of 2013. Mom moved back to Vashon Island to live in the house that her grandparents had built in 1948. And it took us 3 pickups and 2 moving vans to move her up here.
That was after paring down.
Yeah, yeah. So, the year without Christmas, yeah. It was a homecoming for her. Several classmates, including her good friend Karen, also lived on Vashon, and they became constant companions. Mom was active and a member of the Bethel Church here, which she loved. She also sewed quilts for charity and for fun, and she volunteered at Granny's Attic in the fabrics and craft department. She also landscaped extensively her house, and she made it her own. Ginger loved her family and friends. She was happiest when she was surrounded by busy, happy sounds of people she loved. She loved being in a crowd of people. She passed away on June 5th, 2024, just short of her 85th birthday. She stayed in her beloved home, and she was surrounded and cared for by her children and grandchildren in her final days. We will miss her.
We actually miss her every moment. Thank you.
Shine like the sun and hold you in the palm of his hand. The snare of the fowler will never capture you, and famine will bring you no fear. Under his wings your refuge, his faithfulness your shield.
And he will raise you up on eagle's wings, carry you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. Oh, my wife, tell. My mom called me Douglas, usually when I was in trouble. My family does. You can. It's a big deal to lose a mom. None of us are exempt from things that happen to us in life. But my mom was special for me. As I was little, I would look up to her, and my next door neighbor Rusty McPherson would laugh because I would run from my mom, and he could see her start way back at the house and catch me with her long legs. And he would ask me, what happened? I'm like, well, I don't know. I was just trying to get away. Something. As I grew up, I started looking in and seeing the kind of person that she was, the kind person that she was. She was so powerful and so strong and had so many friends. I wanted to be like her, and I have become to a degree like her, but she really was top tier. And I never wanted to disappoint my mom, like most children don't want to. But she never would ever say anything negative to me without some sort of caring and loving response that was so important. The order Daniel and Casey went through is also real. But being kind of the youngest only, my mom told me that as I got older, that it wasn't her that she wanted to have another child so that somebody could be with me all the time, have a friend. And they didn't have another kid. They didn't because of certain reasons, whatever the reasons. But the truth is, she was my friend. She was my buddy. And I got to be with her all the time. And truth, Daniel and I did become Girl Scouts in the strongest way. And it was some of the best times, and still is, to tell you the truth. Girl Scouts, it's big. It's big in my heart. I got the letters. I got the e-news. So she was always there for me, through high school and young years and stuff that all kids, adolescents go through. Always had just positive, My mom, as you all know that are here, she just had a way about her to be very sincere and loving, even though sometimes it would make me upset that she would say it, but it was truthful. And I always loved that. She was one for me that would never let me take too many lumps without her stepping in, but she definitely knew that I deserved some of the lumps I took. So, lessons learned. She wasn't altogether too happy about the things that I would do that would be dangerous. My brother and I would ski on Mount Hood and tell her that we were going down the elevator shaft, and she would be so upset, what, that's dangerous. And, it's not that dangerous, the rocks aren't that sharp. She would laugh, and still, nonetheless, she would always there for me specifically, always. And my brother and sister as well, but big time for me. I got to hang out with my mom as my friend, and she made me a Girl Scout. She did. She made me a shepherd. She did. She taught me. She taught me how to garden and to bowl. I never even came close to beating my mom in bowling. And she would say, well, you just got to put your thumb up the giant's butt. And I thought, well, that is the strangest thing I've ever heard. But it was funny and weird. And so that's how I bowl, though. And I wash my hands afterwards. But she was there. She was just one of those. She taught me about love. She taught me how to be compassionate. She taught me about raising animals and to never watch the slaughter, unless it was chickens. And then we had to do that and don't let go of their feet, which was really interesting. We didn't do it for too much longer in my teenage life. I think she got tired of doing it. It was just a lot of work. But we did do it early. She taught me how to do so many things, I didn't even write down the million things that she did teach me how to do. Hunting agates on beaches, how you gaze in front of you 12 feet. What plants to eat in the woods if you get lost and separated. And I made sure I didn't get lost and separated very often. But I definitely knew what I could eat. I could barely eat anything except peanut butter sandwiches most of my life. I think most of you who know me know that you can contest to that one. But she also set a foundation of health, and the way she fed us, the way she fed me was important. She always had something for me there. She was just always there. And even at the end, you know, even when I was here a few weeks ago, she was wanting to do stuff for us, for me. And it just shows that, you know, just the support where you were all here for. My mom was really one of those powerful people who really did care. She cared about everybody. And she really cared about me a lot. And I miss her so much. I think she'll always be there. She was so spiritual in her way to teach me about God. Even with my obstinance and arguments, she never criticized the way that I would argue with her. But I think that's important. I really do. And it means a lot that she always held strong. And it makes me feel comfortable that she left and is now happy and okay with everything that she is and how she treated us. And I thank you all for being here so much, because it means a lot to me. It means a lot to my family. And she will always be missed by us all. Thank you very much.
Like those things. For you that don't know me, I'm Calvin Swift, fifth in the line of the group. I was Ginger's first baby, she always said, because it was her responsibility to care for me when I came home from the hospital. There's a hole. While thumbing through pictures on my phone, I came across a picture of my three sisters sitting together chatting last summer at Cork and Pegs. My mind flooded with memories. It's a great picture. I thumbed some more. Another picture with Lenore and Becky sitting in the same chairs. Jen wasn't there. One chair was empty. There's a hole. How would we know we would never see the three of them chatting together again? There's a hole. We all referred to Jen as the queen of the tree. I'm not sure she ever thought that was an endearing title, but it's true. The truth is, she was the organizer, the one who encouraged family get-togethers. She was the glue that held us together, the stick that stirred the pot. Family was extremely important to her, and we all are better off for her love of family. She tried valiantly to socialize Cork and Lenore, and they said with no avail. She, along with Joan McCleary, introduced Cork and Peggy, and they're still going strong after 67 years. Maybe she did socialize Cork. Ron can't be here today because of his health, and he shared a couple things with me the other day. He shared that the two of them were known as the Swift kids who could yell louder than the whole student body. They would sit to one side of the bleachers and the rest of the student body on the other side of the bleachers. And you kind of got to remember the bleachers back then were above a big wall, not like the bleachers today. The cheerleaders would have the student body do a cheer, loud as they could do it. Then they would have Jen and Ron do a cheer, and they were always louder than the student body. He also recalled that she was an exceptional at shorthand and a superstar typist. Ron said she organized everyone and everything. She was never critical if you messed up, but encouraging. It's a memory my sister Becky cherishes today. Kermit spent a weekend with her on the island not long ago, and of course she was thrilled to spend time with him and Gibson, that's his dog. He got to know his oldest sister, observing she was a special person in a world of just people. She was accepting. Bev, my wife, felt welcome as part of the family because of that acceptance. You can imagine the trepidation of meeting this family for the first time. She was giving, providing Peggy with maternity clothes when she was pregnant with Sue, her first. She talked Lenore into a road trip along the Oregon Trail to Missouri, and I believe they found some of Mom's relatives in South Dakota as well. The stories they tell should have been written in a book. She and Lenore rode with Bev and I to a family reunion at Becky's in Montana. What a hoot that was. These two, and I'm probably not saying it, old ladies, in the back seat trying to figure out their cell phones all the way to Becky's. We were in stitches the whole trip. Our sister was emotional, she was loud, she was outgoing, she was adventurous, loving, opinionated, caring, an organizer, protective to a fault, a collector of family's history. As she aged, many of our mother's traits emerged in her behavior. She was the laughter, the glue, and the love that held us together. There is a hole. I know that Pastor already read Psalm 23, but that was her favorite psalm and it brought her comfort, and I am going to read that to her now. Jen, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters and restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
My name's Doug, and I know what it's like to be called Douglas. Yep. This is a song that Ginger requested, and I think it's reflects the true desire of her heart. My steps are growing wearier each day, but I've got another journey on my mind. Lures of this old world have ceased to make me want to stay, but my one regret is leaving you behind. And if it proves to be his will, then I'm the first to cross, and somehow I'm believing it will be. When it comes your time to travel, likewise don't feel lost. For I will be the first one that you see, and I'll be waiting on the far side banks of Jordan. I'll be sitting drawing pictures in the sand. And when I see you coming, I will rise up with a shout and come running through the shallow water, reaching for your hand. Through this life we've labored hard to earn our meager fare. It's brought us trembling hands and failing eyes. So I'll just rest here on the shore and turn my eyes away. Until you come, then we'll see paradise. On the far side banks of Jordan, I'll be sitting, drawing pictures in the sand. And when I see you coming, I will rise up with a shout and come running through the shallow waters, reaching for your hands.
Beautiful music, beautiful. Thank you. It's hard to follow Douglas. Anyway, my name's Janet Cottingham, and I met Ginger in 1971. We had moved to Battleground School District, and she was the neighborhood chairman, and we went up to Glenwood School to enroll my daughter Denise in the Brownie troop. And she assured me I would not have to be a leader, I could just be an assistant. And the next thing I know, I have 8 girls sitting in my living room that I'm responsible for. But it was a good thing. And she found that we had just moved from South Dakota in 1968, and we didn't have any family in the area. So she immediately drew us in and made us part of her family. We have wonderful memories with all the Claires. We had abandoned trips and raft trips and Coke bottle trips. And just learning, and like the kids have already said, oh my gosh, I had never been in a canoe. I had never had a garden. I'd never watched anything being born till I watched her pull a lamb and then give it mouth to mouth because it wasn't breathing. I mean, I could go on and on, but it's not about me, and I want you all to know that Ginger Swift exemplifies Girl Scouts. That was her, being a poster child for Girl Scouts. The Girl Scout promise, on my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help other people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. The Girl Scout laws are, I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous, strong, and responsible for what I say and do, and to respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout. That was Ginger. I could personally tell you an example of every single one of those laws that I witnessed that she performed. So then, can't
go without mentioning this. In 1976, she called me up and said, do you want to go over to Portland? There's a group of women that are thinking about starting an adult Girl Scout troop. And I go, heck yeah. Anything with Ginger is going to be fun and an adventure. So jump in the car and off we go. Marge McDevitt, Bobby Settle, Jean Dirtle, Selma Anderson, and Ginger and I. We got together and we just kind of raised our pinkies and said, we're pretty elegant, and it stuck. We decided we would be the Elegants from then on. And, you know, the Elegants, that was 48 years ago. And we have been sisterhoods ever since. As long as, you know, there's anything going on, Ginger was usually involved, even after she moved to Vashon. I can't tell you how many trips she probably made down that freeway. And thanks to Casey for letting her have a potty stop someplace if she wasn't coming the whole way. The Girl Scout mascot is an otter. And the model is, if we can't have fun doing something, we simply won't do it. The exception to that is having to attend more memorials for our friends. Thanks to your all her family for sharing Ginger with us.
Hi. Sorry to say I never got to be a Girl Scout, but I did kind of get to be a granny, and that was sort of like the Girl Scouts, except there was no troop leader. I kind of did all of what they wanted to do. My first day at Granny's, Douglas made me remember this, sorry. My first job that I had to do was to unplug a toilet. No, it wasn't Ginger's fault. And I realized that that was a metaphor for the rest of the time I would be at Granny's, that I would be performing one unpleasant task after another. But the people I performed them for made them fun. And I find myself now missing what I called my rounds. And one of the first stops on my rounds was Ginger's department. And you're supposed to say only good things about people after they've passed, but Ginger had a different side, too. You know she was loud. I never heard anyone ask her what she thought about anything, because they didn't have to. I learned that she always had some small problem that needed fixing. And if I fixed it, she was going to come up with another one. So I learned to fix problems slowly. She also liked her way. I think Kathy's here, she knows that. When Kathy and Ginger got to negotiating, I guess I could say, I would leave that side of the building. She was very, very particular, as you know. She liked her own way, but one of my favorite things about Ginger was she didn't like you to give it to her right away. If you just gave in and gave her her way, she would look at you like, what's wrong with you? And so she and I had a relationship that I had with very few special grannies, and that was the curmudgeon relationship, where we pretended like we didn't like each other much. And I remember one day I had been working really hard on a project for a week or two, and I came in and she looks at me and she very seriously says, "Are you mad at me?" I said, No, I'm not mad at you. Why would you think I'm mad at you? And she says, "Because you haven't given me shit in a week." I'm really mad at her for not teaching me the thumb up the giant's butt thing. I'm definitely going to do that, but no, I don't know what else to say other than working at Granny's was a privilege, because there's so many people that I worked for, and many of them are here, and many of them are gone. And I was especially drawn to the pastor's remark about, not wanting to do these types of things. And This is an unpleasant task, but I'm happy to do it for my friend.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know, I'm Granny's granddaughter, Trula,
And I'm Dash, Granny's grandson.
and we are honored to read this poem for you.
To laugh often much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends.
To appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know that one life has breathed easier because you lived here.
This is to have succeeded.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nancy, and I am one of those Girl Scouts.
And I'm Denise Cottingham. Me too.
My dishes went unwashed today.
I didn't make the bed.
I took God's hand and went with him
To Girl Scouts instead. That my house was neglected.
That I didn't sweep the stairs.
In 20 years, no one on earth will know or even care.
But that I've helped some little girl.
From child to adulthood grow.
In 20 years, the whole wide world
will look and see and know.
I hope the days come easy and the moments pass slow, and each road leads you where you wanna go. And if you're faced with a choice and you have to choose, I hope you choose the one that means the most to you. And if one door opens to another door closed, I hope you keep on walking till you find the window. If it's cold outside, show the world the warmth of your smile. But more than anything, more than anything, my wish for you is that this life becomes all that you wanted to. Your dreams stay big, your worries stay small. You never need to carry more than you can hold. And while you're out there getting where you're getting to, I hope you know somebody loves you and wants the same things too. Yeah, this is my wish. I hope you never look back, but you never forget all the ones who love you in the place you left. I hope you always forgive and you never regret, and you help somebody every chance you get. Oh, you find God's grace in every mistake and always give more than you take. But more than anything, yeah, more than anything, my wish for you is that this life becomes all that you wanted to. Your dreams stay big, your worries stay small. You never need to carry more than you can hold. And while you're out there getting where you're getting to, I hope you know somebody loves you and wants the same things too. Yeah, this is my wish.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
The flicker of a campfire, the wind in the pines, the stars in the heavens, the moon that shines. A place where people gather to make friends of all kinds. A place where all our troubles are always left behind. So give me the light of a campfire, warm and bright. And give me some friends to sing with, I'll be here all night. Love is where you find it, I found mine right here. Just you and me and the campfire and the songs we love to hear. Da-da, 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 da-da-da. Da-da, 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 da-da. So give me the light of a campfire, warm and bright. And give me some friends to sing with, I'll be here all night. Love is where you find it, I found mine right here. Just you and me and the campfire and the songs we love to hear. I want to linger a little longer here with you. It's such a perfect night, it doesn't seem quite right that it should be my last with you. And come September, I will remember my camping days and friendship true. And as the years roll by, I'll think of you and sigh, this is goodnight and not goodbye. I want to linger a little longer here with you.
I know that love is seen all the infinite in one, in the brotherhood of creatures, who the Father, who the Son. The vision of your goodness will sustain me through the cold. Take my hand now to remember when you find yourself alone. You're never alone, and the Spirit fills the darkness of the heavens. It fills the endless yearning of the soul. It lives within a star too far to dream of. It lives within each part and is the whole. It's the fire and the wings that fly us home.
Well, Casey, Daniel, Doug, you guys have done an amazing job and honored your mom so well. Thank you for all that you've put into this service, making it so special. We're going to head into a time of open sharing. And so if you have some thoughts that you'd like to share about Ginger, one I had looking at that slideshow was her in front of the troll. And I guess, I don't know if you were the one, but some people were upset about the troll, that it represented something. And I'll never forget, Ginger goes, "I don't know what the big deal is. It's pallets, it's wood, it's just fun." And I really appreciate Ginger just keeping perspective. So if you have a story that you'd like to share about Ginger, we just invite you to come up and share that now.
When I think of Aunt Ginger, my memory goes to last summer and our visit to Vashon in her home. She was so fun, full of stories about the childhood, making us laugh so much during the ride. Ginger was always so kind and welcoming. She truly cared about people, especially her family. I can still clearly see her smile. I wasn't around her a lot, but when I was, she was genuinely concerned about me and my life. That always meant so much to me. Our son said, "When I look back on Aunt Ginger, it goes to last summer as well. While driving around Vashon Island, it was a trip back to history with her. Her laughter at specific spots, leading us all to think, what's the real story?" Aunt Ginger was so kind. The summer I spent with her, with Dan in Battleground. Little did I realize I was going to participate in local fair making cookies. Of course, I wasn't too interested, but Ginger made sure I did it right. I believe I won a ribbon on what she did. Thanks for the memories, Aunt Ginger. Sharon. We will be celebrating with all of you as you celebrate her life and legacy from distance, in miles, but not in distance. Here's lucky. And a couple items that my wife brought up that I thought were kind of funny to share. At a family reunion we had at our house, it's been quite a while ago, when the California cousins came up. I don't know if folks remember or not. But there were a lot of tents out in the yard, and we'd all go on to bed, and the sprinklers went off. Under some tents and washing some people down, and I can still hear Jim hollering at me, "Cal, please shut off those sprinklers!" And the last one we had at our house, the last one we had, the last one we had at our house, Court and Peg and Jim, Dad and I were playing cards. Late at night. I mean, it was pushing 2 o'clock. And that's late at night, maybe that's old. We were waiting for Ron to get there. He did finally get there at 2 o'clock. And we all got everybody settled down in bed. Tucked in. The last thing I told her was, "Don't go back outside. Don't open the door." And I got the dog out. And it was a young buck, about, I don't know, 8, 9 months old. Well, Ron's wife, Rachel, went outside and opened the door. The Rottweiler zipped up the stairs, jumped into bed with Ginger, and she's sitting up in the bed hollering, "Go see your dad! Go see your dad! Go see your dad!"
Hi, my name's Ryan. I'm Karen's grandson, and most of me knowing Ginger is through knowing Karen and Ginger. I don't have particular stories to share, but I just wanted to reflect on some of the memories that I have of them being together. I have enjoyed a lot of times just sharing meals with them and going to garden centers with them together, just going to Tacoma with them to do errands. I was mostly just an observer to them being mischievous together, and I guess it brings me joy to think that they're doing that again now. So, yeah, that's all I have.
Hi, I'm Helen. I'm one of the Elegants, one of the Girl Scouts. I've known Ginger since probably 1979. I wasn't quite in on the first day, but I feel like I was. Ginger and I had a special bond, especially during the campouts. She and I were the only ones that really liked cooking over a wood fire. We didn't mind the smoke. We didn't mind hauling the wood. Everybody else just wanted the pancakes that Ginger wanted to bake. So I was honored. I'm very honored, Ginger, to have been your friend, to be your fire tender. And my daughter Ann's here. She and I went up first part of May to see Ginger. And we thought we'd take an hour, 2 hours, go see the troll, go home. But Ginger said after 2 hours, "No, I'm not tired, stay a little longer." So we fixed our lunch and we sat and had her. She taught us how to pull her rhubarb. Anne went out and picked her rhubarb. She says, "I think I'll make a rhubarb cake." But she told me later, no, it just went into sauce. That's all the energy she had. So we finally said, well, we've got to catch that ferry, get off the island. We need to say goodbye. And I know it was hard. I held her a little longer. She held me a little longer. We hugged a little longer. It was just knowing we were saying goodbye, but we couldn't. And I think it's not goodbye, it's till we meet again.
Hi, I'm Talia Claire. I'm her youngest son's wife. That came with a lot of challenges. But she was always welcoming but tough, and loved Doug dearly. And through all of the funny little things that happened throughout the years of knowing her, 20 plus years or so, she and I had this interesting relationship where I pretty much knew how strong she was, and I was a little terrified, but I wasn't going to let her know that. But she always would say, she's all, "You're the right one for Douglas. You're the right one." And she loved my kids dearly. She was so happy when Trilla came in the world, and she got to be with her, and she said, "Oh, she's going to be a Girl Scout." In fact, recently her and Casey sent over a lifetime Girl Scout membership. It's make sure that she gets this and practices it. And then when Dashie came in the world, she thought, "Oh, okay, you got a Douglas. You got this." But she did. The last time we saw her, she says, "You just take care of Douglas. And I love her, and I will. And I'll take care of my kids, and she was a beautiful woman and a tough-ass cookie. Tough-ass act to follow. Sorry.
Hello, my name's Aiden Rouse. I am her only great-grandson, and I am so happy that I'm the only one. But how people say that she's strong, she is. She handled a cow one fine summer where I was at my Nana's place spending the summer, and she had this one stubborn cow that would always break the fence. So one day we were in the RV, and then we kept hearing crashing just all over in the barn. She went to go check it out. The calf escaped, so she had to figure out how to keep her in there. And for those who know her neighbor, there's this dog named Rosie. Rosie was very curious, would always come over and decide to disturb us whenever she wanted. So I had to keep Rosie out of the RV while she had to handle the cow. And I do not remember how long we were there for, but it felt forever. So those of you saying that she's strong, yeah, she handled a damn cow. But she's so many things that I can't even describe. She's taught me so much over the years that I've known her. She taught me to never cheat in life, that life is something that you have to live the fullest to, even if it's just a go fish game. Don't cheat in it, no matter what you do. I never learned that part yet. But I am glad that I've been related to her. I'm glad that she lived an amazing life. Hearing all of your stories has just warmed my heart ever so gratefully. And I want to thank all of you for being here with all of us. Yeah, thank you.
How strong you all felt Ginger was. One of the first times I met her
have about time for one more person to come up here and share. Is there one person who wanted to share something that? All right.
Hello again, I'm Trula. I want to say a special hello to the E's. You guys have made, I used to come up and visit my granny almost every summer, so many years in a row, and they'd always invite me to their campouts. And I would come every year and I would look forward to it. I'd sleep in the tent with Granny, even though she snored so loud, I don't know how anybody slept at all. And every time she'd come and visit at home in California, I'd sleep in her little dollhouse trailer, and she would still snore. And even though I did not sleep, I would still lay with her every night because she's my granny. I made my very first quilt with her. She taught me so many things. I mean, truthfully, you all know, most of you know, I was very close with Granny. We were like friends, and she'll always be my friend. I like to listen back to her voicemails that she sends me for my birthday. I called her back, but she would always call at like 7 in the morning. I don't get up that early. I've never gotten up that early, ever. But she was just such an amazing woman. She's had so much influence on my life and all the elegance. You guys are such wonderful people, and I'm so happy to have been brought up with you guys. You mean so much to me, and I'm happy that her memory is forever remembered with everyone here. And yeah, just thank you.
Well, we have a reception next door where we will continue the sharing and sharing memories. One fun connection, I also lived in Battleground for a while, and Ginger and I and my wife, she lived in Battleground, and I also bowled at Tiger Bowl, and I will never think of that the same way. So I'm going to close our time in prayer, and I'm going to dismiss us. We're going to let the family dismiss first, and we have some goodies and a time next door to reflect more on Ginger's life. God, thank you for this life well lived. Thank you for the fresh reminder that loving one another is so important because life is short. I pray that we would take all the lessons that we've learned from Ginger and apply them to our daily lives so that we can, like Ginger, make this world a better place to live. Thank you for her friendship, her love, and her example. Thank you for this service and everyone who shared from the heart. So meaningful, and I know that Ginger would be very pleased. And we pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you all for coming. Hope you have a great afternoon.